But, well, I don't have there's no mic on my computer right now, so they can't get a reverb.
No. But you are there.
Birdies.
We're just setting up. This is kind of like putting me on the spot type of thing.
Hey, we started what I thought was an interesting discussion, and I'm wondering how many other people don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I have talked about a lot of things and the frustration and this, and I don't mind talking about it again. I use it as kind of like my
cautionary tale.
My cautionary tale, or it's the reason why I do certain things.
Just let me know when we're actually, live.
We are live.
Oh, we are early?
No, yeah. This is just kind of the setup portion of it, and like a discussion.
I believe the technical term is lead up.
This is my lead up. Yes.
Lead in, lead up, soft opening. There's so many other terms. I'm sorry if they're too businessy. You were saying.
I forgot. No, I've talked about these things, some of it in real time as they were happening.
Right, but I wasn't always there for that, and you left out a lot of details even when you did try to catch up to speed, which is why I was so shocked that I said we should do a stream of this, because somehow I don't think I'm the only one that knows.
It's interesting because you were there at the time, but
alright, just so you know.
Click the watch.
I thought I did that already. How many times do they want me to click on this?
Yeah, now you can see chat.
Goofy as all get out.
Yeah, maybe I should center us a little bit more.
I don't know why. Are you saying you're a centrist? Because I know that's a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not even close.
Yeah, not even near close.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So this is kind of like a bean history. Bean history.
It's an early bean history.
Yeah, we can get to the early bean.
Because this is way back when you were like, so I'm streaming. Why aren't you streaming? And I said, oh hell no.
And I'm going to be doing drawing later.
Okay.
So this is kind of a good lead into. So.
Oh, so after you just griped at me for throwing a stream on you unexpectedly, now you're all like, well,
Well, it's at 2:00, so it's a little ways.
Oh, I don't think we're going to talk about this that long. Did you have breakfast?
I did not.
So maybe we should take a breakfast break between the two.
Okay.
No? Maybe Sylvie says no.
More of a brunch break.
What do you want, girl? You don't know. Okay. Do they know she's the old lady?
They do not know she's the old lady.
And she says, I'm not the old lady. You're the old lady.
She's my princess.
You have plenty of food and you have water. And now she's quiet. She's like, oh, you had food waiting for me. I had no idea.
Okay. So do we want to pick up where we left off, or do you want me to start back from the beginning?
Don't start from the very beginning, because some names get named, and I don't think that's going to help anybody.
Okay.
But, oh gosh, I thought we already had agreed on this. Now I'm confused.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to start? Do you want to just give very brief your first name, and then the disaster happened, which will gloss over the details.
Most people,
and then the revival. Revival's the wrong word. It's not a comeback either. But don't call it a comeback.
No matter what I say, I've always been a YouTube streamer. I was not a.
Well, Twitch only came around when? I mean, Twitch isn't even that old. And I know there's people who are like, oh, how ancient is this person? Yes, I'm ancient. Get over it. Twitch hasn't been even around that long compared to. All right, I'm gonna look it up. You talk. I'll look it up.
You look it up. There you go.
Better look her up anyway.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Oh, would you prefer me to ramble on while you look it up? That will be here for 45 minutes. Go.
But yeah. So I've never stopped being a YouTuber. I've only recently as in, past 2 years now, been a VTuber. And when I created a Twitch account, it was just to follow one person and kind of support them. And when
I had the data whenever you want it. Just keep talking and then
I guess you can call it a falling out. It wasn't really a falling out, but I was moving on. I moved on. There, that's probably best. A Pidgey escaped. Oh. Why didn't they ever say that these things are there?
Because it makes it more difficult for you
I should come in and actually throw a Pokeball out. See what's going on. Let me get to this. This is probably most important.
I know you get stuff for that, but to me, I'm just like, really.
Well, I couldn't see chat for a second, and that's why I saw the Pidgey.
Oh, now there's an ad. So there must be another one coming or something. Wait, so if you try to catch them, is that what triggers ads? This is all your fault then.
I didn't try to catch them.
Well, you brought up the thing, and as you said you were bringing up the thing, that's when all of a sudden we got this lovely ad.
So we're because most people are not subscribers, we're going to wade through the ad. The 2 subscribers that I do have,
we should start telling bad knockoff jokes during ads.
We could do that.
Oh, I have to start making sure I have a list ready.
Yeah, we'll tell bad knock-knock jokes.
Just bad jokes in general.
Piggy's going to be my ad watcher, so when the ads come up, we'll know that you guys.
Hey, somebody came and visited us. We now have folks. I see. Yay! Hello, folks.
So me muttering something, I forgot what I was muttering for ad.
We were gonna do. We're doing brief filler during the ad breaks. Yes.
Oh, but brief history is what we're going on. So
all right. Speaking of history, I have the dates up if you want.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. YouTube was launched February 14th, 2005.
That makes sense.
And Twitch, which of course was the spinoff of Justin TV because they couldn't keep that name because it's not Bezos' name. That didn't go until June 2011, but even then it was the spinoff. And the general interest counterpart was what Twitch apparently was supposed to be, and that was October 2013. So it's barely a decade old compared to...
It's just a decade old.
Well, it depends on which rendition you consider good enough to be,
And then there's February 2014 is when it was a real launch. A launch.
Well, yeah. We're not going to get into semantics to that degree. Well, you can, but I'm not. So you'll be right.
Whatever it was, it's been a while. It's
been a while. Yeah. Sorry, was that a bad distraction?
I think it's kind of funny because my YouTube page is older than Twitch.
Yes. Both of them? Or the original?
The original one is definitely older. Is almost older than YouTube. And
does that really fall into this conversation? I guess not.
And then you have the one that I currently use, which is what got me into all of this.
Yeah.
That was already 7 years, over 7 years old when I started in January of 2021.
All right. So, all right. How are we gonna? So, can I tell them like how this unexpected bean stream came to be?
If you want to, yeah.
Okay. So, especially if there's somebody new who happens to be one of the folks here right now, which welcome. We have an old house, and I love old houses, especially because they have divided up rooms. I like compartmentalizing things. So for somebody like me, my brain is so happy. And the one room I had dedicated to be our library when we first came here. Yes, we have a ton of books. But then when he started singing and streaming, especially, which he sings very loudly.
It isn't called Loud Noises for a reason.
Yeah, it is called Loud Noises for a reason. And the way our house is set up is, even though, he was singing on the first floor and I was, because I sleep at really weird hours. I have always had bizarro sleep habits. Part of it was when I used to do tech theater stuff. But even before then, I always had bizarro sleep habits. My parents used to have to drag me out of bed, in the morning to go to school and stuff. So sometimes I'd be trying to sleep when he's doing a loud noise recording. And of course it did not go well because I would get woken up even with doors closed and all this other stuff. So I finally said, look, the farthest away from the bedroom that is also the farthest away from the stairwell is the library. And we could make that a studio for you because, we also have other things. Like we had a craft room and we could have split up half the craft room and his stuff could go in there. And I was like, and we'll just have to move, most of the library someplace else. Because that was the other problem, was where was it going to go? Because I wasn't joking about having a ton of books. And it wasn't just books, it's comics, which for the record are primarily mine. People always assume because I don't have, I wasn't born with a penis that anybody could find, I couldn't possibly love comics. But no, they're mostly mine. I'm the comics nerd, but he's better at the history. I just love reading.
You're the comics nerd? Does that not make me a comics nerd?
No, I said you're the comics nerd because you know the actual history.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But I'm a comics nerd in the fact that I have lots of different kinds of comics.
You're a collection.
Yes.
Comic book
collecting means I'm actually organized, which we both know I'm anything but. But part of that was because we moved too much. Anyway, getting back to why this unexpected bean stream. I knew about when you first, when you were watching VTubers at the time, and I don't even remember how that happened, but that's not what this stream is supposed to be about, so we're not going to go even further back. But you had decided you were going to try this streaming thing. That was, I think a fair way to say that.
Yeah.
And it went poorly.
Yeah.
We'll just say that. It went poorly. But after the ban that made no sense because what was claimed was definitely not what was happening in that stream, eventually, you wound up back on Twitch. After you got your name cleared and all that other nonsense, but you were like, I don't need my old account name. I'm now going to have this other thing.
That's an interesting way of telling the history, because to me it's totally different.
Well, this is why I am giving a summation so that those who don't want the whole long drawn out thing can be like, okay, I get it. So now you're going to fill in whatever blanks you feel fit to fill in, because I was worried that I was going to say stuff out of order. Because like I said, when you started talking about it in the Stewberry, and that's why I brought up this, because it's still kind of part library, part studio, even though we're recording this in the office because we still haven't moved the computer stuff because we have to set up cables so we have internet in both rooms easily because the Wi-Fi in this house does not go well. We have old-fashioned, very thick walls.
Yes.
Yeah, I love them, but the internet doesn't, or Wi-Fi, I should be specific. Okay, anyway, so we talk in there because we still have the chairs that were in there from the library. Sometimes the kitties come in, sit in our laps or whatever, and it's just been like a nice space to just talk and hang out, whatever. And so we were there this morning, just doing, because he's actually not working today. Yay. So
kind of a miracle, not working on the weekend.
It's not a Christmas miracle because it's not December yet. So
everybody's working on the weekend.
Yes. So we were having a conversation, and somehow we started talking about
history
and streams, and now that I've started doing, we're doing our game stuff just for fun because I don't have to worry about the back end stuff. I could just play my games and talk into a mic, and that's fine with me. Because I have so many other things I'm dealing with still at the house. And because we haven't had this house that long, even though some people be like, is it more than a year? That's a long time. But no, it's not, because it needed work and there was all kinds of other stuff. So there's been a lot going on that I've been taking care of because I'm more skilled at that stuff than he is. And there we are in the Stewberry, which is going to be called the Stewberry until you finally help me get the rest of the library stuff out of there, and then it could be your full-time studio. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden he brought up this story about what really went down.
Yeah.
There was a lot more involved than I knew. And I was like, wait, stop. This is a stream. You've never streamed about this, have you? And he's like, well, no, really. And I said, we're doing it right now. So that's why this is the Unexpected Beast stream today. But I have a feeling these might happen again, because there are days when we're having conversations and I'm like, no, this is actually worth sharing. Then again, it could be me, and other people are like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, and why did you make me come here? Because I thought there was going to be something interesting. And if you're one of those people, I'm sorry in advance. I really am. Anyway, you tell the story better because you lived it. I was on the periphery, and I missed it, which is why I was like, what? I didn't even know this part of the story. Tell it. You knew this was going to happen.
The microphone is down here.
Yes, it is, and it's live.
And I think we're going to probably be hit with an ad real soon.
Okay, I'll let you know, because that's my job. You're not saved by the ad.
Not saved by the ad. Okay.
You got banned. Start there.
I'll start with how it was like unexpected.
Unexpected banning.
Since we're doing this on Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's right. It was. I forgot that part. I knew it was near Christmas.
During my first year as a streamer entirely, because I was streaming, especially live on YouTube, mostly, but I did a lot of videos, and I was trying to come into my own, and I was having my own issues with YouTube at the time. Ooh, what did it? Thank you, Mag. I will hydrate. Hydrate time.
Yay! Thank you.
I was coming into my own as a streamer, and I had made a lot of friends on Twitch. So I had a lot of followers to begin with, and I was actually growing the account on Twitch, and somebody even mentioned that I should probably do my live streams on Twitch and have the videos on YouTube.
You're looking at me. Did I say that? Because I know we talked about it, but was it somebody that was watching you on Twitch?
It was a lot of people. Well, there was lots of information. I can't even tell you who it was at the time because I was getting lots of information on how to. When I started on YouTube, I was doing it completely wrong. It is my first video that I am doing this wrong. So I never really corrected the course. For what I was doing on YouTube. It was just kind of this hodgepodge, little crazy stream.
Seat of your pants.
Really for me. Not really for
the broader audience.
Yeah, it wasn't even meant to grow. I mean, it was
just a fun side project.
Yeah, to make up for such a miserable birthday that I had.
Yeah.
And my age definitely does play a role into this discussion because I turned 50 and that's when I started streaming as an old man.
Yes.
I was already
ancient elder.
I was already too old to be a brand new spanking new streamer instead of a seasoned veteran, which I was not. So basically, formulated that's how I was going to stream. It was just kind of just for
Freeform
me.
And...
Yeah, and more of a performance art as opposed to this. I had already
stream of consciousness more than performance art, but yeah,
I had already quit being a drawing artist like a long time ago.
Well,
I
officially,
really,
yeah. I mean, you did get paid for it at one point. That there's so many things that both you and I used to do as careers that we no longer do for various reasons.
And so I wasn't even doing. I wasn't even drawing anymore. And I always
that point I would agree with. Yes.
I don't really joke around by it, but I've mentioned that before I started digital drawing, I hadn't drawn for a decade.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. So
because you didn't even really I did the logo for when you had the special effects company. You didn't even do that.
Yep.
So yeah, I definitely think that's fair to say. It's been at least a decade.
Yeah. So it's been a decade. And so I had no intention of becoming an artist. I had no intention of becoming.
Okay, that makes me laugh. You're not becoming an artist if you already are an artist. You were just a non-practicing artist who went dormant, and you were coming at a dormancy. To me, I'm weird like that.
Yeah, but I had no intention.
It's not like one day you just picked up a pencil and were like, "Hey, look, I can make something to art." It's just not the same. Semantics, I know semantics.
Lots of art stuff happening.
Yes.
I mean, I joke with some people sometimes, and I tell them I took gross anatomy just to improve my art, and I did, but
and you did take gross anatomy, yes.
That did happen, but I don't know how much that actually improved my art.
It probably did. It's one of those underlying things, you know what I mean? Because if you think about it, it's not the same as taking a figure drawing class. It's just not.
No, but I was
it's not like you can pose the corpses, It's just not the same.
I was more sculpting.
Yeah, it definitely helps you understand what lies beneath.
Yeah.
There's definitely that aspect. And I remember even in high school for me, when I was an art major, because yes, my tiny little high school that had so few people would be like, how could you possibly have an art major in your high school? That we had that, and I still have that drawing, the pencil drawing, where Connie brought in the bones. She had all these animal bones she had found in the woods near her, because she lived in a woodsy area, and we all had to pick a bone, and that was that was the joke. We all had to pick a bone and make something. It had to be wood, reflection, and the bone, whichever bone we picked, and that's where that one piece I have that you've seen it a million times now, but it was to help us understand that we're not just blobs. The things in the world are not just these objects, that there's structure, that there's support, that when they move there's things. It was just another way to help us remember that their textures are different, because that was really what that particular assignment was. It was about texture. But sorry, I'm rambling about something that's completely unrelated now. You've got to stop me with this, because I am tangent queen. Stop this. Okay. So you were already an artist. And
I was an artist. Tangent. I was a non-practicing artist, but I had no intention as a streamer to become an artist or streaming artist.
Yeah, that I think is probably the best succinct way to say it.
I had no intention of ever doing that. I had put aspect of my life behind me.
Performing artist.
Yes, I was thinking I was definitely going to be more performance.
Am I allowed to mention a certain comedian that you like to model yourself after at this point?
You can mention.
It might give away the plan.
Well, it doesn't really give away the plan, so it's fine.
Okay, he's a Kaufman fan.
Andy Kaufman is one of my favorite comedians.
And Kaufman, there's a lot of people who always thought that, he faked his death, as a typical dark Andy joke. And there are people who still believe that he faked his death. But the idea of this long joke, that there's a long joke that eventually the actual punchline will be revealed. And that was one of the things that you had in mind when you started streaming, was that you were going to do that similar type of comedy style without it being overt. Because I think, especially nowadays, people people have so little concept of subtlety and nuance. Everything is very in your face, and look at me in my TikTok video, and whatever else. And there are no long form art movements. There are no long form writing. You get serials and stuff like that, but it's just not the same. People don't develop stuff. It's like, now, because advertising has taken over the mindset of everybody.
Yep.
Everything has to be new and fresh or nobody wants it. And that's so silly.
And the thing
because we're looking at 70s clothes again. All this, can I talk about the BL stuff without you cringing too much? All the guys who model that happen to be BL, Thai BL performers, they're all wearing 70s clothes, people.
BL stands for Boy Love.
Please. If there's anybody who watches streams and doesn't know all the genres at this point, do I really have to explain initialism? Maybe. Okay, fine. Fair. So anyway, they model. They all model, and they get brands that want them to wear their clothes and whatever because money is everything. And it's all 70s. It's all from the 70s. We're looking at stovepipe pants and yes, okay, Thailand, so paisley prints and stuff like that. It pretty much comes from India, which is right next door and whatever. And okay, when I say right next door, I'm aware of the geography. Do not correct me. I mean in a rough sense.
Closer than America.
My my American geography skills are about as average as you'd expect, but they are better than most. Which really don't bother with geography in this country, which just drives me crazy, but that's another story. So yeah, the 70s. They're all wearing 70s clothes. So if you're looking at them thinking they're all fresh and new, As a child of the 70s, I'm here to tell you, all this has happened before, and it is all happening again. Anyway,
remember we were having this discussion about what's going on with me.
It just drives me crazy because people are acting like these clothes are so new, and I'm like, no.
I forgot what I was talking about. I'm gonna have to go to the videotape. Let's do an instant replay.
I'm so sorry.
Before we started talking about 70s clothes.
An artist. You're not an artist. That's what you were talking about.
I was trying to be a performance artist. And,
yes.
And the thing I like about Andy Kaufman is that you are with me. The chat, everybody who wants to be in on the joke is in on the joke. That's the thing I like.
Even if they don't know they're malicious, in on the joke.
Well, not now. That's where the joke gets to be funny.
Yeah.
Because for the people that don't know that they're in on the joke, that don't understand, like, oh yeah, we're part of this. We're part of this community and everything like that. They become more of the butt of the joke. And
well, not necessarily. They're still
until they realize that they are
part of the joke,
in on the joke, and then they can become part of it, and it grows from there.
But they're necessary. That's what I was trying to
everybody's
say.
necessary.
Yeah.
It's like the
because when people hear butt of the joke, they think that means that it's a negative connotation.
Oh.
And so that's why I was trying to correct the word.
Right.
That's it. Keep going.
The negative connotation is something that I think Andy Kaufman personally had to fight against.
Oh yeah.
Because
we're all in this together.
I think his comedy was greater. With bringing the entire world in on the joke. And then you realize how silly we all are, including Andy Kaufman himself.
And I think that's why, for me, I love comedians that deal with real obscurities, just the general humor in life, instead of going out of their way to make a new funny thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not about the new joke. I like the observational comedy that finds the humor in everyday life. That's always been my favorite. I mean, this just from listening to all the comedy that I watch on online. It's all very observational.
Yeah.
I don't listen to people that go to do the fabricated stuff. But I mean, like characterizations, that's still slice of life. Just in case anybody is thinking that it's not. I mean, yes, there are a lot of created characters that are created to be funny, but characterizations can also be slice of life. Sorry.
Yeah, something like that.
So Kaufman, long joke.
Yeah, that's the
Let's
reason.
Let's get back to Twitch.
That is the reason why I continued.
And this is one of the reasons
beyond my birthday.
Yes, and it's one of the reasons why we never had me in the stream, because I am Tangent Queen. So sorry to everybody in advance.
Which is fine with me.
Yes, fool that you are.
Yeah. So, I became part of a community on Twitch. That's where we'll start.
I think that's a good place.
And within this community, I had built up a decent following. I was not streaming.
You were happy.
I was
so happy.
I enjoyed the company of everybody. They were crazy and insane, and very much like me.
Mm.
I kind of outed myself, but then again, if all they have to do is watch my YouTube page,
yeah, they're gonna find it anyway.
And
yeah,
you'd find out that I was an old man. Most people could not even believe it, and I said, wouldn't that be funny if I actually made the joke that I wasn't?
Yeah. That it's a fake beard and all that other stuff.
It's a fake beard. It's a whole thing, because it easily could be.
Mm.
I could easily be 25 years old, like somebody actually thought I was.
Yeah.
I could easily be that.
It's the internet.
I also could be easily be 52 years old now.
Yeah.
Which I think is easier.
Well, let's face it, your beard is pretty white now.
Yeah, it's pretty white now. Than
the white is overtaking the gray. But then again, I went to undergrad, and my first year, one of the guys who was a senior had a beard that was already, he also, like mostly blonde, but he already had white in his beard, and he was only 24. So it's. No, you're saying I'm a liar?
No, you're white all over.
I know. Jeez. You want more food. All right. So, yeah. So, to me, beard color is not indicative of age at all because of my personal experience. That's the joke.
It was suggested that I take my live streaming, which I was doing on YouTube, and just transfer it over and do live streaming on Twitch and just turn everything into videos for YouTube.
Yeah.
Which made perfect sense to me. Because that's all anybody really does here on Twitch is live stream. It is the live stream, a live stream haven. I had about 200 followers at the time. And a few other people who I was in the community with had already started up streaming.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because I was already a streamer. I was a YouTuber, and now I'm beginning as a streamer.
Yeah,
again.
It was like it's a brand new thing, yeah. So, and this is when I was still doing a lot of the community projects. So I was like, I'm glad you have a hobby because I am crazy busy with this stuff now. And
I had stopped playing Warhammer 40K.
Well, yeah, they changed the rules again.
Well, they're always changing the rules. That's never been a thing. But I just
they left the rats behind when they did 40K, and to me that was when I was like, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. My beloved rats, how could you? No, take the Skavens. Why can't Skavens be space rats? Why? Sorry, just...
Space Pirates.
Yes. That would have been even more fun.
I wrote rules for that. Just so you know. That was already written.
I know.
And I didn't care I never didn't care what other people thought.
And I bought rats because of that. Remember that. Anyway, back to the story. This is going to be a 3-hour story when it should have been 40 minutes at most.
It's okay. It can be whatever.
All right. I just don't want anybody who comes
it's unexpected.
Yeah. It is unexpected. I just don't want anybody who came into the stream to feel like, they're sitting here forever and they still haven't heard the end. I'm still not seeing an ad, so maybe I'm missing it. Before, every time a book came up, there was an ad.
Well, I did try to fix it.
So that it doesn't get addy.
So I went back in and I lowered the time that the ads run.
Does that mean the ads are longer, though?
No, it means that the ads are only 30 seconds long. But I could not stop them from running once every hour.
Okay, so we should be down to once an hour.
It should be instead of every half hour, which is what I think it was before, and I think it was at 3 minutes.
Oh my goodness!
Or 2 minutes. I've had people I've run 6-minute ads, and they ran it every half hour. So I'm like going, how much? You're losing.
Okay, I can see. All right, I'm gonna just say this real quick. Bathroom breaks. I could see doing that at least once during a long stream because it'd be a pretty decent bathroom break.
Yeah,
but if you can only set it once for the entire stream, that's kind of
Even with that, when people look at their revenue, and I know like people who have hundreds of people viewing and stuff like that, and I'm not even in the double digits of viewers.
Yeah, but it's also not the pandemic, and people have had to go back to their lives, which you and I have had that discussion many times.
But, I got the Magby. For me, I don't care what other people do. They can do whatever they want. I think that it just takes way too much away from the actual streaming, and
agreed.
And you think it's greed. But
no. I said agreed.
Oh, agreed.
I agree with you.
Okay.
But yes, I definitely think it's Amazon's greed.
Yeah, it's definitely Twitch's greed. Yes.
Sorry, parent company.
Yeah.
Wrong name.
Definitely Twitch's greed, and the biggest problem in my opinion, is that thing is when you look at how much money you've made. Now, I had it running. Before I tried to change it, I was having it running like the standard, which is I believe 60-second ads, twice an hour.
Okay.
So every half hour it was running a minute ad.
Okay, we didn't come here to talk about your ad practices. We came here to tell a story.
We're telling a story. I just feel that it's just too much, and when I looked at it, I got 4 cents for it, and how many ads ran, I'm just like, this is just
silly.
It's not even a penny per ad run.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get back to the story.
So I decided it was the week before Christmas. On the week before Christmas.
Towards the week before Christmas.
I had already built up that I was going to have a model. I had used a doodle that I did, which is the current Cubine that you have, which came from a doodle that I did, and he was my stand-in until I had the regular model.
Yeah.
Put up, and most people I've said this before that I was going to be a platypus.
Yes.
VTuber.
Yep.
Not a little yellow gremlin. Yellow because purple is my favorite color, and yellow is a nice contrasting color. That's one of the main reasons why I picked yellow. But he is yellow because it is the emoji color, and most people don't realize that he is just a smiley face. That is really the design behind the gremlin.
I always think it's funny that you call him a gremlin because I just think of him as a baby orc.
He is kind of a baby orc.
But you can't call a baby orc a gremlin because that would be a fight.
You can call a baby orc whatever you want to call a baby orc.
Like I said, that's a fight.
If the baby orc believes he's a gremlin, then he's a gremlin.
That's different. Anyway. So
that's why it's good to be an orc.
Yes. So that's why you made this little now Batman-y.
I'm Batman. Well, it became Batman because always be yourself unless you can be Batman, then be Batman. So Batbean was born.
Yes.
One of my early
yes.
Yes. But
I was actually surprised you picked that bean as opposed to your original bean, just because it would have been nostalgic. But I'm weird.
So I had made a bunch of different, like I had a lifeguard bean and a few other designs that I was using to stream with. All originally hand drawn before, because I wasn't doing the straight to digital. Only solely digital work. Everything was done.
That's another stream when we're going to talk about hand art versus digital.
I didn't think I was going to do well as digital artist, especially because a right-handed mouse.
That's a whole.
I am left-handed.
I don't think people realize how bizarro that is because you are naturally left-handed. Yep. You are not an ambi like me.
So I started. I did the 6 streams, and I was doing really well. I was well on track. I had over 50 viewers, average. Before Christmas Eve, it was Christmas Eve, so it was like I really had a large showing. Yeah, I should say. I had a very active chat,
especially back then because there was so much competition.
I was
holy moly! Everybody was trying to be a streamer.
I was fighting a lot, and I thought I really did hit a groove. Suddenly,
but then
on the night before Christmas, and all through my stream, nothing was stirring, not even me. All of a sudden, I was locked out. There was no warning.
Yeah, do we have to go through the long form way, or can you just jump to the part where you're like, oh, but then this happened and I found out why? No, you want to be dramatic. Okay. I was drama king. Go ahead.
I was all set to become affiliate on Christmas Day.
And you were so excited.
Yeah. I was.
You were like, how did this happen? I remember you were dumbfounded. You were like, this is amazing.
I was literally like, come midnight, going to do a midnight stream.
Yep.
So that as soon as it hit 7 days,
yep.
Like I said, I had a 50 viewer average, so I was already well on the way.
Yes.
I had over 200 followers, so I was well on my way. Yes. I had everything going for me to be an affiliate on Christmas Day, which I thought was going to be really cool, and that was going to be my announcement for my model.
Yes.
It wasn't going to be the reveal, because I was going to do the reveal on my YouTube anniversary, which was January 31st. But it was going to be the announcement. And I couldn't do the announcement because I was locked out of my account. I thought somebody hacked me.
Yes, I remember that.
And I was desperately writing to Twitch and trying to figure out. And of course,
we were like, "Oh my god, they have like what, skeleton staff because it's
it's Christmas." And there were a whole handful of other streamers also getting locked out of their accounts. There was a hack going around, especially for the bigger streamers.
Yeah.
They were mostly attacking streamers who weren't streaming.
I'm still amazed nobody came up with some kind of a grinchy name for that, at the time.
So they broke into people's accounts on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
They broke into people's accounts on Christmas Eve that weren't active. I was, on the other hand, was
very active. Yeah.
But they broke into larger streamers' accounts when that weren't active, and they basically got them banned. They did something somewhere and they got them all banned. And that's when I realized I was banned.
Yes. Because you didn't even get a notice.
No notice. No notice. No saying thing from Twitch or anything like that.
Which to me, was just pathetic.
No saying why I was banned. No saying like this.
Well, I can understand, as cheap as they are, why they wouldn't have actually, taken the time to write a form letter that said you've been banned, but at least send a notice that you got banned. Yeah. I mean, how pathetic was that?
On the 27th.
At this point, I don't remember dates.
2 days. So. Yeah, 2 days into my ban,
Yeah, I just...
I got a notice for sexually explicit material. I have been...
Which we laughed about. I mean, like,
I had been
it was
banned,
so ridiculous.
I had been banned for 7 days. And I thought, in my infinite wisdom, because I revealed the lifeguard emoji, avatar, as my avatar, who was wearing a Speedo, which was only like, because of the belly on the gremlin, there's only a little bit of a Speedo showing,
right?
But it was still covering everything that it needed to cover.
Right.
But I thought that they thought that that was sexually explicit material, which I had a good laugh about. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really funny. I thought, this is all going to blow over. I hadn't lost a follower at this point. But I was like, 7 days, I can laugh it off. I'm going to fight this.
Yes.
I'm going to do, I'm going to be this, warrior and everything like that.
I don't think he put it in that word, but yeah.
And a couple days later, I was being faced with charges, that they were going to file charges against me, for the material that I had.
We were just like, what? Like, I remember when you first were telling me about this, I'm like, no. And you were like, yeah. And I was like, for a drawing? And you're like, I have no idea. And they wouldn't produce the evidence. That was the most frustrating thing.
So that they were having to go through all of my videos.
Mm-hmm. And it took, because there was a lot, then.
It was 6 videos that they had to do, and it was almost 24 hours.
That's what I'm saying. Like, time-wise, yeah, we knew that was going to take time. Because they were probably, like, looking through it going, where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
And,
no.
And I was thinking that because everybody kept telling me bots, it's bots, it's bots, it's bots, everything's bots. The bots have taken over, the bots are doing this, the bots are doing that. I don't think that a few of the letters that I've gotten were done by bots. They seemed like they were done by humans and not automated at all. The investigation against me seemed like it was being done by humans, not anybody at all.
Maybe it was early AI. Who knew?
I think that they did not want to reveal to me the person who put the complaint in, but they did. I don't think
legally they're required to.
They are not until they press charges against me.
Yeah, that's when it has to come out.
And I think that they were like going, we're pressing charges against you, so here is your accuser.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's interesting.
So I think there was probably a miscommunication on their part and everything like that. And as soon as I found that out, I was like, they must have already pressed charges against me.
And we were freaking out about that because we were like, where's the evidence?
I could get arrested.
Yeah, and that's why you went back to thinking it was a hack again. Because you were like, I must have been one of the accounts that was hacked. They immediately, put the obscene material on there. And that's why this all got triggered. Because that was the only thing that made sense.
Yeah. As soon as the person my accuser was revealed, it was then revealed that I was anti-LGBT.
Which, to me, I'm like, seriously? What they don't know.
There's a part of me that was happy that they reacted very quickly and they were very decisive in their decisions.
Yeah.
There was another part of me is like, why you picked me? Me? Why? Of all the people you could target, of all the things that I've seen around on Twitch, you targeted me. I'm not an affiliate.
Yeah.
I just started.
Yeah.
And you've already put a strike against me.
Not just any strike.
You already put a strike against me with a suspension, which will eventually interfere with my emojis. This is what I was for some stupid reason. That was one of my big worries, is that because I had this, I wasn't going to get the number of emojis that I would be able to get from people watching my stream.
Which was about the audience. Like, that's what kills me.
It was all about the audience.
It's always about the audience. And I just, yeah. But anyway, this part I knew. This part I completely knew. So we're now getting to the point where you did the revelation that I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. So I was going by Q Hope at the time.
Always have hope in your life.
Yeah, something like that. And Q Hope was really popular, and until he wasn't.
Yes. Go ahead, keep going.
The moment after the suspension, when the charges were still being filed against me, when I still had the stigma and everything like that,
yes,
I had lost 100 followers.
Yes, because it started getting out into the community and the other channels, like Discord and stuff like that, about what Q did.
I was under restricted streaming. So I was not allowed to become an affiliate. And I had to start over.
Yes.
So the 6 videos that I had already produced, they were gone.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, because I'm a freaking idiot and a moron, and I do things wrong, I was also live streaming at the same time on YouTube. So all 24 hours still exist, because I didn't know at the time that you could actually just take the video from Twitch and push it to YouTube like I do now. So I was actually streaming I was doing simulcast. I was doing simulcast with both, which somebody eventually told me that you're not allowed to do it. But I have to tell you, in the rules, there is no rule saying...
at the time, I'm sure you haven't looked at the rules recently. They may have changed.
There are a lot of things changing. But there was no rule at the time stating that I could not stream
on multiple
platforms at the same time. They both had to be unique videos, which, if they're both live, they're both unique, which people don't realize that even though they seem to be the same, they're both unique.
Yeah.
I was also doing something crazy, because I was doing the live where you can actually see my face on Twitch. So it was YouTube video being played on Twitch at the same time. Yes. So it was like a really weird, bizarro thing that I was doing at the time.
Yes.
So, but I have all those videos. I don't have any of the chat logs or anything like that. And you only have me saying what people...
calling out stuff.
Type and things like that.
Yeah.
I was devastated. And I did not make another video. I canceled the becoming a Twitch streamer, and I wanted this all settled before I started streaming on Twitch again.
And I was not supportive at all of this idea. I'm going to be honest. I basically said to him, if they're not going to protect their streamers, then why? Why would you go back to them? It's like an abusive relationship. Why? And he was like, well, let me just try. And I was like,
After I think about a week, I lost everybody.
Yeah.
So everybody was gone.
And that was so weird. Because, it makes sense because you weren't really streaming, but at the same time, like, I guess it's the stranger on the internet problem. Like, people were like, wow, maybe they really are a creep, or, maybe this really did happen and I just wasn't there. Like, I can't understand why people would just flee. That's so weird.
Well, other weird things were happening. Like, I was going into other people's streams as a viewer, and I was getting kicked out of them.
Yeah, like I said, like that is just...
I was blocked on a bunch of people's streams.
The judgment
which
thing is weird to me.
I don't know if the streamer blocked me or if I was just being blocked by Twitch. Yeah. It was really, really bizarre and crazy and everything like that.
And that was part of the problem, was that the communication froze. So it's like you really didn't know what was going on.
I held on to Q Hope for a little while longer. That's when I met people who just started out as streaming and everything like that.
Yeah, it was the new wave.
And I was thinking that I was okay there, but again, some stigma or something was like that was.
It was that bizarrely toxic trail that you just couldn't shake, and I was like, nobody even let you have an opportunity to say, it wasn't me.
Around my birthday, I got my birthday is in February, just so everybody has a timeline.
Yeah.
Around my birthday, I got the apology, not apology, from the person who started this whole thing, blaming the victim for the reason why they were so evil against me.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I don't mention their name or talk about them.
Yeah. Leave the past in the past in that sense. But you then made a decision after this nightmare.
Yeah. After Twitch cleared me and made everything, tried to make everything okay. They deleted all my videos, so they didn't have them to reinstate them. All this crazy sugar.
I thought you could curse on your stream.
I can say shit. Don't worry. But all this crazy shit that was going on at the time, I was so fed up with, and I just wanted to get rid of. As soon as the name was cleared, I got rid of Q Hope.
Yes.
I was not going to return to Twitch.
Which I was very supportive of. I will admit that, yes.
I was streaming live on YouTube. I was still growing very slowly.
And can I just say something? I'm not saying that YouTube is any less corporate nasty than Twitch. It's just that the environment didn't seem as toxic. And I just thought that would be a better home for you, and you were not going to have to deal with these, ridiculous high school shenanigans there. That was my entire logic, because that's what it felt like to me. It felt like high school, oh, did you hear what Billy and Sarah did? I mean, like, it was that dumb. You know what I mean? That this had happened to you. It was like one person, had a bad day and your whole life got upended. Like, that's just sad that they let that happen. And that's why I was so glad you were not going to go back. Yeah. But anyway.
I was trying to use my connections on Twitch to try to steer everybody, like, come to YouTube.
Yeah, come to YouTube. Come with me. Let's all leave
So
Twitch
I had
behind.
created several, which is, I think, what shocked you. I think this was the big surprise in our conversation. I had made several different usernames before QBean. Like I told you, I made Eskimo Q and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't remember this, and I think it's because that was when I had taken on more responsibilities. But it also because that was before I got pneumonia, right?
Yes, it was before you got pneumonia.
So I think it was when we didn't realize they had changed the ingredients in mouthwash. And I kept getting bronchial problems. We couldn't figure out what was going on, and it was because they had changed it to have eucalyptus oil instead of alcohol. Because my allergy to eucalyptus, which I know is not a usual allergy. But that's why it took us so long to figure it out, because who looks at the ingredients in mouthwash? Who? And so I kept having bronchial problems, so I had more downtime because I couldn't do diddly, and you had all this going on, and I was like, I'm not part of this community. There's really nothing I can do except listen, I'm sorry you're going through this, but, I kind of warned you, corporate America, what were you expecting? And so I wasn't the greatest supportive at the time, but I was glad that you were at least, because you really seemed to enjoy certain aspects of the streams and stuff like that. And I was glad you still had YouTube. You know what I mean? I was glad you at least still had YouTube as a platform to do stuff on. And then all of a sudden, you were twitching again. And I was like, okay, whatever. You know how I feel about this. They didn't support you before, so...
It's twitching.
That's how I saw it. But I felt like they really failed you the way they handled things at Christmas.
They did fail me, and I keep Twitch at arm's length, and I do not say anything nice about them ever.
Well, not overly nice, no. The fact that you still use them is its own.
Only because of the people.
I know, because you couldn't get them to cross over to the other dark side. What is it called when you go from one dark side to the dark side? I don't even know what that's called.
If everybody followed me on YouTube, I wouldn't be Twitch streaming.
I know.
Just flat out.
I know.
Cold turkey.
I know. So at the end of the day, the community is what mattered the most to you, and Twitch should thank their lucky stars for that. Because
it's nothing that Twitch has ever done.
Yeah, it isn't. But there was a point, and you distracted me, and now this is. I have brain fog, just in case anybody doesn't know. And no, it's not from COVID; it's from perimenopause. Yes, I'm that old. So I lose my train of thought all the time. What the heck are we talking about? You were talking about trying to get people to go to YouTube. They didn't go to YouTube.
Yeah, and that's why I created these a bunch of different.
The other personas that I didn't even know you had because I was sick and I had so much stuff I was trying to do with the community stuff here and meat space community
not really it wasn't really something that I announced either.
So. No, you didn't, and part of it was because you were working so much then, so you literally were like coming home, you were barely doing anything on the computer, and then you were just collapsing. It was the shortages of the job you had at the time, all that stuff.
I was working at the post office, and it was. I keep forgetting that I still streamed during the entire pandemic. That's my career as a streamer. It's all pandemic.
Which is funny because you never stopped working like everybody else who became a streamer.
No, I worked full time, worked overtime.
Yeah.
As a postal carrier.
All right, this is bizarro. I don't know what the heck this is.
They didn't pay me, and I didn't get any of the bonuses of the pandemic happening. I just basically had to muddle through.
All right, this is weird. This has got to be spam. It's telling me a package that I'm not expecting has arrived, but there's a problem, and I need to click this link.
Don't click that link.
Dude, who's the one that taught you not to click?
Yeah, you. We're gonna go, instead of taking that sidetrack that you're doing on right now, I'm gonna go back to what I was doing. So I created a bunch of personas. The last one that I did create was QBean, which is the one you guys have right now.
Right. Which is why we're here today, because I did not know about this in-between process. I thought you went from QHope to QBean. Yeah. I did not know that there were other in-betweens.
I was trying to tell people that I knew that, and this was supposedly, this was going to be my last time trying to convince people to switch over to YouTube before I am gone. And I know my age has definitely played a role in the way people perceive me.
Well, especially when, that's always so weird to me because I know we were a generation that grew up with the don't trust anybody over, 50 or 30, depending on which part of our time and stuff. But, it's never made sense to me, the ageism. The ageism is so weird to me. If somebody is, cute enough, smart enough, hip enough, whatever, what enough to actually go through the trouble to learn all this stuff and be part of this movement and, because this is just another artist movement, the whole streaming and live performance. And it is a form of performance art. It's very performative, especially in certain cases, which we are not going to touch on today. That's a whole nother series of streams. So to me, it's just another artist movement to be a part of. And I know it's one of the reasons that you were, all to me, oh, you should be a streamer, da 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 da, and you know why I was like, no, not doing that. And I don't mind being a sidekick, as we were also discussing this morning, which is how you finally convinced me to start doing this with you, because that I don't mind because it's less work, it's less headaches, and
should I draw Figgy in a Robin outfit?
Which Robin? I'm gonna go there.
Whichever Robin you want.
Maybe. I think that could be fun.
You can actually do the sidekick.
Yeah.
Sidekick.
Yes. Still love that movie. Not saying it's a good movie. I still love the movie.
Sky High.
Yeah. But anyway, so to me, I was glad that you still had this aspect because we were still, I mean, we had moved. We were in a completely different state. You had never lived here prior. So, the connection thing was problematic. Of course, the pandemic didn't help that at all. So we really didn't have, offline friend networks going on. And I knew that I could not be enough by myself, you know what I mean, to, what is the word? It's not just support. It's like, you needed a community. You didn't need just one person. I mean, I'm more, I don't need a lot of friends, kind of a person. Like, you definitely thrive better in crowds than I do.
Which people don't realize that I'm the introvert, she's the extrovert.
No, God, no. No, I'm only an extrovert. I have this weird personality thing where if I'm in a room of complete strangers, I will do the craziest crap you have ever seen. I once sold, and there may be someone somewhere who knows the story. I once stood up at a banquet table in a hotel in the state I now live in and sold a piece of chocolate cake. I auctioned it off to a room full of people I did not know. We did eventually get the money back to the person who won and did this whole thing, but that's another story. But I will do that kind of crazy stuff. But if I'm in a more intimate environment with strangers, I am very introverted and do not want to put myself out. And I really believe it's because I come from a small town and I was the subject of bullying, a huge amount. I mean, compared to some of the crazy crap that people have to deal with now because of online social media, I don't think I would have lived through my childhood, given what I went through, if social media had been a thing when I was a child. Because it was brutal to begin with.
We're at an ad. So knock knock jokes. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Aren't you?
Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
Don't you have to tell the banana joke first before you tell the orange joke? You don't even know how to tell knock knock jokes.
Your turn.
I didn't pick this stupid plot. Filler. It's not really plot. It's really filler. It's almost done, right?
Just so you know, on YouTube.
Oh, there we go. We're back. Yay! I didn't have to come up with a bad knock knock joke. Okay. He's a terrible knock knock joke teller. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, just so you know, on YouTube, you guys can all hear my bad knock knock joke.
Yes.
She didn't.
He screwed it up. It's not funny. You have to tell the first part of the joke for the follow-up to make any sense.
I do not. I can do whatever I want.
You're just assuming most people know what the
It's a bad knock knock joke for a reason.
You chose a bad knock knock joke for a reason.
I did.
So anyway, yeah. So the idea of calling me an extrovert, that makes me laugh like hell.
Which is I'm
a selective extrovert.
Yeah, there you are. I could not do what you did with the cake.
And I still, when I look back at it, because that was probably the largest spectacle I made of myself publicly, you know what I mean, where people could actually interact with me. Because, I was a radio host for 8 years. You know what I mean? And I never had a problem doing all kinds of wackadoodle stuff on my radio show. And, so it is selective. But, in-person extroversion? Oh, no. People will remember my face. So I think it's funny. I am a selective extrovert. It's true. Because, I feel like... But now with social media, maybe I wouldn't be. We haven't really been part of large crowds. We haven't been to conventions in years. And even when we were, most of the time I had a mask on. So,
In conventions, I don't like being in conventions. So.
You thrive at conventions, though.
I thrive when it's a one-on-one. I like being behind
conventions still have that one-on-one aspect, is what I'm saying.
I like the table. I hate waiting in line.
No, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You are king of the table. There's no disputing that. And I don't even.
I hate waiting in line. I hate making others wait in line.
I still remember poor George. Some idiot didn't recognize him at Comic-Con and made him stand in line to get into the convention. When he told us that, I was like, no, there's no way. Oh,
I don't know if we can say his full name. I don't know. We'll keep it as George.
Let's just say his wife makes some really wild shirts for conventions, and those who know, now you know.
Yeah, I don't like name dropping either. So.
No, and that's why for people who are like, which George? There's so many Georges in comics.
That works.
That works. That's enough an identifier that it still keeps it with the in crowd. We can still be snobs.
Yeah.
I didn't do it as a name drop. It just baffled me.
Yeah,
how can you not know? But then again, it's an age thing because I think he said it was a young kid, so it makes sense to me.
Stan.
You'll tell that story though.
I can't tell that story.
You can't because that would be a definite name drop.
But it's still one of my favorites.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm almost crying.
But I'm also not. There's also not an intimacy or a friendship, I should say, with that celebrity.
Oh, I thought name dropping was any celebrity, regardless of whether you actually had a real FaceTime, thing with them, meet space.
Well, name dropping is like going, I know.
Yeah, and that's why I hated. Can I say this? That when we lived in a certain state.
Yes.
Yeah, California. I hated it because you turned into one of those people.
I did.
And it drove me bananas because I was like, you are not that person. You never used to do this.
It's how they networked.
I know, but it drove me crazy. And I know it's why you hate doing it now.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I had.
Because you never used to do that stuff.
And I had to wean myself off of that.
Because you built, and I know who did that stupid habit to you too. I know exactly who did it, and I'm definitely not dropping his name because he deserves no help in this universe.
Nope. Yes.
But yeah, he's the one who started steering you wrong.
I don't know if it was steering me wrong, but it was.
Well, I think it hurt you. I think it hurt you.
Maybe.
I do, because you became one of those people. You became known as a networker that way. Because that's what name dropping really is. It's the poor man's networking. I mean, let's face it. And it's sad because it's like that one Azure post where the person was like, everybody has I met a famous person story. And I told the one, that I did.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I didn't claim to know him. You know what I mean? I just met him. You know what I mean? But it still can be seen as a name drop thing.
I still love it that you call it Azure. Like we can say Blue Sky here.
I know
on
we
Twitch.
can, but I just take personal pleasure in that other name because I like words. So I love calling it Azure. And I love the fact that when I say Azure, there are an awful lot of people that know instantly what I'm referring to.
And I know that on Twitter, people who do mention that will get hit hard. But man, I support you all. I mean, I don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't do it myself because I don't feel I need the wrath. I'd rather not be noticed on Twitter than get.
We're doing that slow, quiet quit.
Yeah.
I mean, I made mine obvious. I mean, in one of my accounts, I definitely said, I'm just cleaning house because any data I can pry away from this lunatic that's ruining this platform, I will.
Yeah.
And they cut me off. They started archiving me. And I still haven't figured out how to make the anti-archive thing work.
And even though I'm not a big numbers person, I am still trying to do that magical 10K.
You and your goals. You have funny goals. I never...
This is like 16 years though. 16 years ago, 10K meant something.
Yeah, I know.
And now it means nothing, but I still like it because I've never had it.
I know, but it's like, this is the worst time to have it because if you do hit it, it could mostly be bots anyway.
I probably only mostly have bots to begin with.
Well, until we get more people on Azure, you're going to have you because of what you do, you're still straddling. Me, I've already, thanks to Discord, I'm going to say it. Thanks to Discord, I don't have to worry about straddling. I'm fine, and the thing I'm really happy about is the geek part of me that loves the scientific parts of the community. Like, I'm already finding them on Azure, and that makes me so happy.
No, I just think that like everything changes. I mean, that's why
the world's that secret.
Twitter is not going to be Twitter 5 years from now.
It isn't now.
Twitter's not Twitter from 5 years ago.
Yeah. But everything, I mean, it's just like we were saying, you know, the world changes. That's the world.
So it's going to be something different. Now, good or bad, I can't tell you
and even
which
Azure,
direction it's going to go.
You know, even Azure is going to be its own thing because it isn't. You know, yes, it does have the overall network.
And it has the benefit of the bad things that happened with Twitter.
To learn from, yeah. But again, it's just another entity that can get bought at any time and ruined. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, that's where we are. You know, capitalism is still, you know, a disaster we haven't addressed properly. Change the subject before I go on a rant.
Okay. So, QBean was created to be the last and final push. So long, thanks for all the fish. I really did do that post. I got rid of all of my...
Which I criticize. For the record, I criticize because I hate when people do that. Because even if they mean it, you know, and they intend to follow through with it, it still looks like a desperate attention grab. Which I know yours wasn't. You really were thinking that this was it. You were done, and
oh yeah, I already had my foot out the door.
The great experiment was over.
Yeah,
you know,
and I was not coming back. That was the big thing?
Yeah,
because what happened with Q Hope, I didn't say I wasn't gonna come back, and then when I realized I can't really function on Twitch without a username. To be part of chats and everything like that, I was no longer part of the communities.
Yeah.
Once I did have
that was
a
the joke about. I don't remember. I think we only made this once. I think I did make a crack at one point that you were basically going to turn into the Watcher.
Yeah.
You know. And that's what I thought it was going to happen. And then of course they all did the no, don't go.
Yeah, people did them.
Back.
Stop! Don't go.
Yeah.
Help! Police.
I see him do it every time. And that's not a name drop. It's in the movies.
Yeah. So, created QBean as kind of the final thing. I had already started to dismantle all of the Discords. I had invited people who were in my personal Discord to vamoose, if they wish. We were going to close it down.
You were gonna. There was no we. I wasn't one of your remember, because we even talked about that, and I said, "Don't make me an admin."
I'm not getting involved. My one admin. Well, I had two admins, but the one admin that I had, who was a friend on Twitch, didn't have time to be an admin anymore, and so I was going to solo admin. I had my if the shit hits the fan person.
Yeah, because we had talked about you were gonna switch the focus to art and maybe just doing some quiet gaming stuff on the side, and it would be okay if that person decided to stream while we but then nobody, because at the time I was like, you know how I feel about games with guns. It's just one of those things. It's like, we already have so many guns on this planet. Do we really need to have games with guns? And it just seems like so many games were just being, shooters. And I was so tired of that. And so I really never streamed with you because it's always seemed to be games with guns.
Yeah.
Which is why I was like, let me see what I can find on Good Old Games or something that maybe we can do co stuff. We had talked about Warcraft, they were about all this stuff. And there was even that joke about going back to Guild Wars 1 because Guild Wars 1 was still around.
Yep.
Because I actually was trying to get people from another Discord channel to start doing that. And they dragged me into Guild Wars 2 and then did exactly what I absolutely hate, which is, let's just do all the quests we can as quickly as we can and let's not pay attention to the storyline and let's just get this done. And I'm like, what are you playing this game for? It could be any game. You don't care about the characterization. I'm a role player first. I'm sorry. I warned you about this. You didn't listen to me. And that was my one day. One day. I went through all this trouble for Guild Wars 2, and that was it. I was done. One day. That character's probably still there. I should probably delete it in case somebody wants the name. Mm-hmm. I don't even have Guild Wars 2 on my computer anymore. Anyway, sorry, I'm detracting again. So you were doing your last goodbyes as a streamer.
I was doing my final goodbye. I created Qbean to be that basically
the hanger out account.
That wasn't even, it was just literally just say so long.
Yeah, so long. Thanks for all the fish.
It wasn't created to follow anybody. I didn't create it to be this. It was the last group of people. Hey, Blue Hope, how you doing? It was.
They can hear me now, right?
They can hear you, yeah.
Blue, I'd really like it if you follow me back on Blue. I'm kind of, I know it's petty, but I'd like it because I really don't have a lot of followers because I'm new.
He wants to play Guild Wars, but he needs a strong PC. And hello. He said he linked it. He said you're already hooked up.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means to me because nobody knows me. Which was, by design originally. I tried to stay out of this. So happy to see you, though. Oh, and
Blue on Blue.
Speaking of, you explained Blue's name, and I'm like, that's amazing. The story behind the name. So just so you know, I am just like you. I also want to just be not a main, a sidekick.
There you go.
And he still thinks we should do 2 sidekicks together. There you go. We were talking about that's how we wound up streaming today was because of stuff that was happening during that conversation. It's good to see you. Sorry, you were talking about other stuff before Blue.
We were.
You had made your goodbye account. This is like the 4th time we've come back to this. We're so
I created Qbean to say goodbye.
Yes.
One more time. I created Qbean to say goodbye. Yeah, so I deleted all the accounts on Discord.
Yes.
I deleted all the connections that I had with pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Qbean really wasn't following anybody at the time. And was just there.
Yeah, and like I said, I was so tied up with being sick and the community stuff, so I really did not, and like when community needs space, so I had no idea what was really going on. Sometimes you told me stuff, sometimes you didn't, sometimes you assumed you told me stuff, which is why, like today, I went, what? You never told me this part of the story?
I don't know whose stream it was, and I don't know how it is, but we got to one streamer in particular, and it was through a raid. I wasn't following this person. I wasn't, I knew of them from because I think they
periphery,
because I think they started in February, so it wasn't like I was like saying like, oh, this. I think they knew me originally as Eskimo Q.
Okay.
So they were watching this whole big change, wacky
weirdness that was going on.
Weirdness that I was becoming or not becoming. But I had this wonderful conversation with them.
Yes, no?
And they asked me why I was leaving. That was the thing, because I was basically saying goodbye to them.
Yeah.
And they asked me why am I leaving, and I told them that I didn't feel like I belonged.
Yeah, and you had, like I said, you've been dealing with the ageism and stuff, and that still blows my mind, but.
And
it is what it is.
They said, no, you belong. You should stay. And she said it actually in I wish I recorded it because it was like everything I needed to hear at the right time, at the right moment. And I said, forgot what I said, but maybe it was like, I was like going, I'll give it a week or something like that.
That sounds like you.
I give it a week.
Yeah.
And I then made a decree that I wasn't going to follow anybody.
I don't remember that.
This is like a really weirdo thing that I was doing.
You must have had a bitter day when you made that decision.
I wasn't going to follow anybody directly. And I wasn't going to stream again unless I reached 50 followers.
Which that doesn't even make sense, because why would somebody follow you if you don't even have any content to watch?
Right.
I know, it was self-defeating on purpose, but they showed you.
They did. I wasn't following anybody unless they followed me. And yeah, I'm trying to think of what my rules were. It was like really like, I was really like, I don't want to be a part of this at all. And if I reached 50 followers, I would stream. So I wasn't going to stream unless I had 50 followers. And I said, this will never happen. I even said that. I said,
I do vaguely remember this.
I said, this will never happen. I was able to watch the person who told me to stay streams. I was able to do all this stuff, but I didn't follow them. Around the same time, I started turning people I knew into queues. And it was only going to be a handful, and it was only the people that followed me here on Twitch got turned into a queue, because the truth of the matter is that the queue being persona, especially the gremlin, was never a YouTube thing until recently.
I'm listening.
I see that.
I just want to make sure Blue knows which version of Guild Wars, but
yeah,
keep talking.
So, yeah.
Why am I green?
I don't know.
Okay, it's your channel.
I don't make the colors.
Okay, I guess.
I think you can pick your color.
Okay, I'm fine with green. It's one of my 4 favorite colors. So
yeah, that's probably why you picked it.
Yeah, I didn't pick anything.
When you made your account, you probably picked it.
No.
Oh, then I don't know.
Never mind. Tell the story.
I know that there's some people do it based on they change your color based on how many posts you've done or in chat.
Well, this must be greeny newbie, I guess. Yeah. That's because I am a newbie. So
this is like your second or third post. So
yeah, it's definitely under a dozen.
So yeah. So they showed me. I started streaming and I decided no games. I wasn't going to play any games on stream, and it was going to only be art streams.
I don't remember this specific. I remember you did say you were going to continue the art streams. Yeah. I know you were getting, I think at the time, you had a strong, because you weren't streaming. When did you start doing the commute streams again?
I had done the commute streams after I got suspended.
Okay, so we're not there yet.
No,
I'm just trying to remember the timeline.
But around this time, everything was focused on. I had everything focused streaming wise on YouTube.
Right.
So, I wasn't streaming here on Twitch,
right?
Because I didn't have to, and I can watch all the streams I want, and I can, I can be a part of the communities, and anybody who followed me, I would give you priority over people who didn't follow me streams, because I would follow back, and that's how I made my list. That really is how I made my list.
You are their follow back dean. Okay, so I was just trying to get the right time frame.
On YouTube, I was live streaming. I was doing the commuting streams. I was streaming all the time.
Well, because I was going to say that you never live stream the commutes because, technical issues. But there was a reason I brought this up, and Brain Fog won again.
To put everything into context, my first year anniversary stream on YouTube was a disaster.
Yes.
I had 40-something odd followers after a year of being a YouTube streamer.
Mm-hmm.
And for my birthday stream, I lost almost all of them. I was down to 13 or 14 followers. And I basically was like going, why am I doing this?
I think it was also a time when YouTube was cracking down on bots, so it may have turned out that some of them were actually bots.
A lot of bots.
Yeah.
Because
people were doing more fundraisers, and the bots were screwing that up because they were loading down streams, and pissing off the mods, because the mods were the ones who were having to take out all the spam bots. So YouTube started cleaning up the bots.
Yeah, I did a 72-hour birthday stream, and in the birthday stream, I had reported 162 bots.
Wow. How do you remember that number? I couldn't remember that number all these years later.
Because I was counting them. I actually had a counter going on the number of bots that came into the stream. Okay. That was all my chats, just so everybody knows. Yeah, bots are evil. That was all of the chats for nobody wished me happy birthday on my birthday, which I was kind of upset by. Well, you did, but
you don't see the look I just gave him, so yeah, that's why
you
he had
obviously
to say.
did, but you didn't do it on stream.
No, because I was trying to stay the heck away from it. All you're telling me is all these scary stories about these, female presenting people who are having all these problems because they're getting attacked by the incels and all this. I'm like, why would I want to go anywhere near that?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it was kind of my streaming at the time.
Mm-hmm.
After getting suspended and coming back and trying to focus everything on YouTube and being a huge, like, all my effort was going into YouTube, and literally watching it feel like it just all was for naught.
Well,
yeah. Because of that, I was like going, well, I've been forcing myself, and I don't have the time anymore to really stream. So
yeah,
and live streaming on YouTube is literally a waste. It is a complete and total waste.
Well, okay, because of what you do, the stuff that you were doing really is, people don't go to YouTube to look for that.
Right.
There are lots of people, because who I follow on YouTube, and they all do. They do not play games. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. There is no pop culture anything. There is no, none of that. So it's and it's why some people see YouTube as the oldies medium. And the joke is, no, Twitch tricked you. Twitch just told you that YouTube was for the oldies, so you would stay with them and make them money. That's all it ever was. Mm-hmm. But they don't know better because nobody was brave enough to say, goodbye, we're going to this other medium, which is also, terrible, but at least not as terrible.
I mean, like, let's be realistic. I mean, like, I have 135 people on YouTube after 3 years, and I have nearly 500 people here on Twitch after just passing my first year. I'm almost at a year and a half. So there's literally a big difference between viewership, but my priority will always be YouTube. YouTube is still my
and the other thing too is, like, it's YouTube, because of the demographics. They don't have the kinds of people who are young and crazy enough to stay up till 3:00 in the freaking morning just to watch a stream. You know what I mean? So again, it's the medium. Twitch doesn't really, they have the replay sort of thing, but they don't, where that's really what YouTube is, to watch a video. Whether it's live or not, doesn't matter. You watch a video. And because I'm trying to think, no, that's a conversation for another time. That's just going to interrupt this.
Also, with live streaming on YouTube, my one live stream, because I was doing karaoke, the music, because it went to multiple copyrights. Now, I had already put even in the description for this live video that I was doing, because I was singing every Doors song that ever existed. and I was literally going from karaoke to karaoke to karaoke, and that also played a role into what YouTube considered copyrightable,
Yeah.
because certain people were using illegal music to do their copyrights. Some had Jim Morrison's voice in there.
Yeah.
They used the actual Doors music to do this instead of recreating the music. So it's, like, a lot of things happen. It's the reason why in the middle of the stream, after 2 hours and 45 minutes after 2 hours and 45 minutes, they killed the stream, and basically gave me a warning. And I still have that because of it.
All right, can I ask you, why do you not just cut and paste Pocatch so that every time you just have to do a 2 key instead of type the whole darn thing every single time and then stop talking? Why? Why do you do that? You're still not answering me because you're too busy typing, and for some reason even though you can do it just fine, other times during streams you don't seem to be able to type and talk at the same time. It makes no sense to me. Ay. Seriously, why don't you just?
Because I'm
so inefficient.
I'm lazy.
that. You can't say that, because if you were lazy, you would totally do cut and paste because it's the least amount of work.
It's not about I'm lazy that I'm trying to not be efficient.
You could make a hotkey, for Pete's sakes. You got the skills.
Yes.
I thought you had to put the name of the character in it, and then I realized you're not. You're just saying Pocatch or whatever it is. I'm like, dude, really?
Did you see I had to put an escape? I put Pocatch Ultra Space Ball.
I know. I was wondering what that was, but
that's a different ball.
Yeah, obviously.
That's my super special must catch all ball.
Yeah,
and guess what? I didn't catch it.
It's called marketing. That's what that's called.
I had a wild Pikachu, and guess what?
Okay, can we get back to the story so it's not a 4-hour version of a 20-minute story? Because we're already, working on an hour.
I got an hour and a half here.
Oh, that's right. We started at 11. This isn't yesterday when we were doing dwarves.
Yeah, so
2-hour version of a 40-minute story. Yes, there's more birdies.
This is kind of important, and I think the sidetracks.
Okay, it's your story.
I think the sidetracks.
You're right. I should shut up and let you tell your story your way.
I forgot where I was then.
Uh-oh. You were talking about being on YouTube. You had already created Bean as your goodbye, and
I was sticking with it. I was asked to stay, and so it's just a random. It could have been any of the Q personas that I created up until that point. Could have been my name. Any one of them. If somebody told me the right things, said the right things at the right time, I would have been with that version of Q, because there's now a whole mess of Q's names that nobody could ever use again. Because once you delete it, the name is gone forever. So I can't come back as Q Hope. I can't come back as Eskimo Q.
Oh,
they're gone.
Twitch?
On Twitch. They're gone for good.
Which, that's ridiculous. And this is why we wind up with these usernames that just make no sense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It might be a time thing. There might be like 2 years or 3 years where it's
a generation, whatever. It doesn't matter what the time thing is.
But yeah, so they showed me. I made the ultimatum. It was really like I could watch any videos that I want. I watched a bunch of the people who I supported before. I kind of went back to. I was met. It was a mixed bag. That's the best way to say it. These are people that stopped following me. That left my Discord. And when I left them and stopped following them. And now I have a new name, which I'm now using as and pretending I'm still the old Q Hope. They basically didn't, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all.
If you could get to the predicate of the sentence, people would actually know what you're saying. Mr. What did Morton, they do?
Is the subject of my story, and what the predicate says he does.
So you're following all these people that you followed before that weren't following you. Then what happened?
They basically said, we don't want you around anymore. And it hurt. It hurt, but I realized I was not part of those communities. Even when I was in my heyday.
I hate to say this, and I said this at the time, I'm going to say it again now because I do think it is worth repeating now. Whenever a problem happens, no matter how innocent that person is, people still have that thought in the back of their head as to why did he get picked for this? What was it that made somebody feel confident to make this accusation?
Yeah.
And the sad thing is...
There must be some truth to it.
Yeah, there must be some truth to it. And the sad thing is like you said, all those videos are still available for people to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And you can clearly see there isn't even like mild smut in them, for Pete's sakes. It's ridiculous. And yet they still didn't come back. And I understand that's a time investment. They'd have to watch every single video they didn't watch the first time when it was a stream. You know what I mean? So I get that. I do. But there is that weird thing that we humans do where when someone comes under suspicion, no matter how innocent they are, no matter if they've been the nicest person on the planet, we still get that moment.
Yep.
And wonder there has to be a reason. And it's pathetic that we do it. And what really drives me crazy is then it becomes the personal embarrassment. Everybody has that aha moment where they realize that person they were suspicious of really didn't do a damn thing wrong and somebody just had an axe to grind. And now they're too embarrassed to, person up and say,
"Oh yeah, there's people.
I made a mistake and I'm sorry."
There's people in the communities that I am a major part of, and they're a major part of as well. It's not like we
just happen to be in the same room at the same time. Yeah,
they're kind of this. We're always pleasant with each other. There's always niceties always shared, but. I don't watch their streams.
You're not invited to the barbecue.
I don't watch their streams and they don't watch my streams.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. No matter where we're going down the road.
And that's a shame.
I used to watch their streams.
I know.
And I used to try to become friends with them again. But you know what? It's their choice. I can't force people to be my friends. Even if I pay them.
Why would you want them?
Even if I pay them.
If you have to force somebody to do something, it's never going to be genuine. So I totally get that. I would never go out of my way to try to force somebody to be friends. Yeah. I might, have that conversation with them and say, okay, what's the beef? You know what I mean? And try to find out where the misunderstanding is. But yeah, no, you don't. There's no point in trying to force somebody to be your friend. That's just a waste of time.
I mean, I've had conversations with, like, somebody said, oh, why'd you stop following me? And I had that, well, you're not following me. And I had somebody tell me that I did not deserve to be followed. They really told me that I didn't deserve to be followed, but they were upset that I wasn't following them.
Oh, so that's weird.
Like, how bizarro is that?
It is part of the entitled culture, is what it is. There are still so many people who don't really understand privilege. Because that's what it kind of winds up being. Do you know what I mean? And whether you've earned privilege or whether you got associated privilege granted to you, they still have this weird sense that they are better somehow. And I am with you as far as like, why do you think this? You know what I mean? Because And it's why I hate the follow game, and I hate feeling like I have to bug people, you know, with anything of that nature. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because you know what I did. The people that you know did the whole like follow me and then unfollow me weirdness. It's like I don't have 4,000 followers. It's real obvious when I lose somebody. There's a reason I like the numbers to be even, because it's simple. It's simple. You know, I have enough going on upstairs that I don't have time to be keeping track of who's following me, who's not following me. You know, it's like I say, how many times have I said that? Oh, look, high school drama again.
Yeah.
You know, and it's why I hate having to say to people, look, because the truth is, if I follow somebody and I don't have a relationship and they don't follow me back, I get that. But I still want to give them the chance, because I'm not going to keep following somebody I don't really know, you know, because it's not mutual. Because in a case like this, like with the streaming stuff, that's what it is. It is networking. It is connections. And if you have a genuine connection with that person, or you would like to develop a genuine connection with that person, that's awesome. Do you know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted Blue to follow me back, because Blue sounds like a really interesting person.
He is.
You know.
Blue's cool.
And that's why I asked. So, and I'm grateful, you know, that they did what they did.
Blue's cool. Blue's cool.
Oh, you're not gonna do that throwback, because people are gonna be like, I don't even know what he used to do. That's not a thing. That's old. Sorry, hon, you did an old thing. That's not even our old thing.
That's not even our old thing.
That's like the next. That's what the next generation.
It's just next generation.
Yeah, Blue's Clues. But so it's why I hate that game, and it's one of the reasons I did not. Because to me, I was just like, I don't know, Twitch just sounds like the whole friggin' high school shit again. You know, like I just don't have time for this. I'm trying to make real change on the planet. I'd like these generations to actually have a planet to live on and it's hospitable to them, you know, because we've done our best, you know what I mean? Like, yes, we have not been 100% green activism all the time, you know, kind of people, but we have not been quiet either, and especially me. You know, you got a little bit more active thanks to being married to such a lunatic, but, you know, and I still have that. I'm so glad we did not have progeny, because I would be apologizing to them every day. I'm sorry we didn't do a better job taking care of this, you know, this sphere that we live on.
Are you saying you probably would have gone higher level?
Yeah, I would have. I would have had to. I couldn't have dealt with my guilt. I mean, I have guilt as it is, and I don't have relations with any. I mean, like, yeah, you have some nieces and nephews, but I was an only child, so I don't even have that layer. You know,
they're stuck with whatever they're left with.
Well, I mean, come on, they're like flat earthers and stuff now, and I'm like, how can you be regressive? What is wrong with you? You're the generation that should be like all into science, and you're just being a flat earther. Like, what? I'm sorry, that still blows my mind. It blows my mind. But yeah, if we had actually had progeny. And it was one of the reasons you were such an attractive potential mate, because you did not want them. I did not have to worry about that. And, you know, and it's, of course, it's the old joke about if the smart people stop having kids, what do we expect?
I fooled them. I'm not one of those smart people.
You're smart enough, or I wouldn't put up with you. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And it's, I think what freaks me out sometimes, even though this was well predicted. No, I'm going to tangent. Don't let me do this. We're talking about your story. We are not talking about the environment today. Do not let me do this. Tell the rest of your damn story.
Where was I again?
You were back, and were you streaming again?
I've never stopped.
I know you were.
Somebody actually has
YouTube stuff.
Somebody has like a whole big thing about like how I stopped and stuff like that. And for the first year and a half, I was not a Twitch streamer.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's because that's their whole world.
Only 6 days.
Yeah, that's their whole world, so they can't think outside that box.
Most people only know me, like, out of the, you know, we're looking at 495 people who are following me here on Twitch. Mm-hmm. I think 7, maybe 8.
I don't know.
Are like Blue, who knew me as Q Hope. their entire world is just QB.
And for the rest of them, yeah.
And not only that, a large portion of those group of people only know me as a slime.
Oh, that's right. You were mentioning that the other day, and it took me a minute to realize what you're talking about.
And I only started Slimes January 1st of this year.
Yeah. I think, too, that one of the reasons... This is not a sideline.
That's after 2 full years of streaming.
Yeah. Can I side...
My
sort of
third year.
sideline, but not really?
Sure.
You've been bugging me forever to do my own streams, and I was like, not doing that. And then, how do we get to the point where... What? Oh. You're still not cut and pasting. Got it. What do you call it? There was the whole... Oh, I lost it. See, this is why I hate the stupid pokes, because my brain fog is just like, ooh, distraction. We didn't need to talk about that thing.
We're allowed to be distracted, though.
Did we finish the story to the point that you think it's satisfying and we can sidewind?
We can sidewind all the way.
All right. I don't want people feeling like they have to sit through.
Like I said, most people now, most people think that I'm such a new streamer that, that I've
which is hilarious to me because streaming isn't even that old. You know what I mean? So we're talking like, paraseconds, like it's just, when you look at the wide world of streaming, I'm like, really show your age a little more, and then you wonder why we make fun of you.
It's only been 10 years. Streaming's only really been around for 10 years, but I've had people tell me that that's a Gen X thing. I'm like,
see, I hate this generational thing because it's so arbitrary. I know they tried to start making it calendar based, but it really was arbitrary, and it's still arbitrary. It's just a bunch of sociologists getting together for drinks and saying, this is the new line. We're going to mark it right there. And it's never made sense to me. Like, yes, I can't think of the name of the fella. There's a guy who every year at the commencement speech of the new classes coming into the university or college, whatever it is that he works at, he always goes through this list now. He's been doing this for a while of what that generation has never experienced. So, like, they don't remember life before cell phones, or they don't remember, you know what I mean? Like, he's been doing this, and he includes all kinds of things, sicknesses, countries rising and falling, like all these kinds of things. It's an amazing speech that this person does. I don't know if they're still doing it. For all I know, COVID could have taken him, and they can't do it anymore because he's not alive anymore. But he would do these spiels where he would literally talk about the fact that to these people, this is the world that to them is always existed. The idea of a phone connected to a wall that you can't just walk away with the handpiece, and just the handpiece, because even mobile, I mean, the whole idea of having with the huge ass, antenna cord in the early phones. Remember those when they got rid of the wires?
I have wireless phones.
Wireless phone, woo! It's like the brick cell phones, the sat phones, that sat phones have never gone away because sat phones are a completely different thing. I know. Go ahead, remind me you had money at one point in your life for the 58 billionth time. And you know what's really funny? I'm so glad that you fell out of it, because I don't know that we would have met, and we definitely would not have gotten together. I don't think, because I can't stand that. But and it's not that whole marrying above your station crap. It's just the attitude, because you do fall into the money trap mindset sometimes, and it drives me bananas.
I try to avoid it, but I know
you still do it, and I make fun of you every time. Keep you in check. Anyway, so
keep me humble.
You don't know the name of the word. You're so funny. This is why I stay with you, because you make me laugh. Oh my gosh. Then again, you put up with me, so I got that going for me. Oh my gosh, I forgot again. Where was I? We were talking about streams. We were talking about crowds and generations. And I got to be a crusty old for a minute. But Yeah, if you don't want people making fun of you because you're young, stop acting young. Stop being surprised by things that have been around for hundreds of years, if not thousands. That's one of the things that drives me craziest about the ageism. You know, it's like, you don't want us to be ageist, but it's totally cool if you do it. Goes both ways. That drives me crazy. And it's why I loved the fact that even when because remember, when I got involved with the local community stuff, because we just moved here still, you know, at that point, we were on Zoom. And all they saw was, you know, my face with the headset and sometimes a hoodie. So they all just assumed I was like an otaku, you know, in my 30s or whatever, which I thought was hilarious because to me, my face is definitely not 30 years old. But they, honest to God, they were like, we thought you were our age because we thought you were a gamer with your headset and stuff. And I'm like, well, technically you're not wrong, but I'm not your age. You were right about one of them, but not the other. And it's just funny to me which ones of them decided to step back once they realized how much older I was and I was like their mom's age and stuff. And the ones that were like, we good. You know, we're still good. And I cherish that, the few that did not do the step back just because they found out I'm old. Because I don't treat them different. You know what I mean? I don't do the, oh, you youngins, you know, whatever. Because they don't act stupid. You know what I mean? That way. And so, yeah, there are some people that I have to hold my tongue sometimes and do the, oh, you're young. You know, because they've done nothing for me to be disrespectful to them. And I think that's one thing that I wish more younger streamers in particular understood is that you get back what you give. And if you're going to be ageist to somebody, you best be ready for it to come back. And the problem is we tend to have more lived experiences, so we know more ways to hurt you. We know what will hurt the most. So we are the worst person to try to pick a fight with. Because we will take you down. If we think you're worth wasting the time on. I mean, that's really what comes down, is when we ghost you, that's why. It's because we didn't even think you were worth taking down. You know. But the ageism drives me crazy. And I know that's one of the other things that kept me out of the streaming community. You know what I mean? But it was one of the things that delighted me about the community Zooming, was the fact that, you know, there was such a broad age group with us, and we were all learning, you know, these things together about the arts communities and the environmental stuff and the health.
Well, you know. Could be. I mean, I couldn't be 25 years old, but you could be 25 years old.
Yes, you can. I already told you. I knew somebody who was 24 who had a beard as white as you. So it doesn't, to me, that's just dumb. You know?
Yeah, but you don't start your streaming career saying, this is my 50th birthday and how miserable you are.
No. I definitely did not do anything like that. I did not announce my age. But it's just, anyway, it's just something that I if I ever start going on this rant again, say, you already got this off your chest, don't do this again. Because I really don't want to harp on it. And it's just way too easy because it's such low-hanging fruit, because there's just so many of them that do this crap. And it's just sad.
Why is it a them?
Because I'm not their age. That's why it's a them.
The dems.
So it inadvertently becomes a them because I cannot belong to their group anymore, you know. How do you do something inclusive that is still exclusive? Because obviously I'm talking about people who are younger, who are doing the ageism thing.
I don't know.
So I just call them ageist? Is that what I should do? And then it could be anybody?
Yeah, you could do that.
It's still a them.
It is still them.
I mean, I'm sure I've done some ageist things that I don't realize that I've done. But usually when I'm doing ageist things, I'm doing it on purpose to make a point.
I like when people ask me what my pronouns are, and I tell them my pronouns are Q and Bean.
I understand the pronouns thing. And part of it, and this is where we differ.
I understand that people do not like to be called a pronoun that they don't choose.
Yes, and there's also just a general misgendering. You know, I mean, like, I get that too, and I understand it. I mean, because there are people who have mistaken me for whatever, And the joke is, you can't mistake me because I don't really feel like I have to be one or the other. You know, yes, I grew up and people considered me a tomboy as much as my mother desperately tried to make me a female. Which is why, because we were talking about this recently, I want to go get the stupid test to find out whether I am one of the other combinations. Because all the doctors told her I was going to be a boy, and then all of a sudden she had a girl, you know, and I've never felt like a girl. I've never, pink, not my thing, you know. I didn't play with Barbies the way girls were supposed to play with Barbies. I did I did all kinds of other stuff, you know. And I still had Matchbox cars, you know, which that I still don't know how my dad managed to, you know, get that past her. But
hey, girls had dolls, boys had action figures.
I had a Steve. I can't even think of his last name now. $1 Million Man.
Colonel Steve Austin.
Steve. I had a well, because now you say Steve Austin, people think the wrestler. You know, and even that's old, you know, to them. But yeah. So Colonel Steve Austin. I had both the Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman, you know, 18-inch action figures. And I had the little lab and stuff, you could plug them in and whatever. Yeah. I'm that generation. But I played with lots of other things that now would be considered gender neutral. You know, Weeble Wobbles were gender neutral. Play school stuff, gender neutral now, you know. And I didn't have army guys, but I did play with the army guys when I was at my cousin's house. You know what I mean? I didn't say, ooh, I can't play with your little green men. You know, I didn't do that. And of course now little green men is a completely different thing. But yeah, nobody has, do they even still sell green army men in a can like they used to?
I think because of Toy Story they do.
Probably, yes, they probably had to come back. They probably did. I wonder if they're all still male though.
I think they are.
The whole gender changeovers has been fascinating to me because I've been...
Yeah, we have big anime tits. Even the guys.
Yeah, they do.
I watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's, yeah, the anime, we're not going to get... That's a sidewind right there. That's another... You should start writing these down in case we ever have a day where you're like, let's just do a casual, you know, hangout stream, and I'll be like, pull out the list, and we can go through all the stuff we meant to talk about and didn't. But anyway, but that's why the whole gender thing is like, I've tried to be generally supportive because I've always, you know, I was one of those people that I grew up in an extremely conservative small town, even though it wasn't Jersey. You know what I mean? And so the whole male-female thing, I mean, I remember people, you know, bashing people even when it was quote-unquote two hot chicks kissing in the hallway in high school. You know what I mean? Like, I lived through all of that. And I just remember coming back from college and coming out to my very gay high school art teacher. And she literally said, "Are you sure?" Because even then, you know what I mean? Coming out, because at the time we only had 3 letters. You could, you know, like even though California and San Francisco, they had a whole flag and every single color represented a different faction. The rest of the world was still getting over having 2, you know, and was barely acknowledging 3. B, bisexual, you know. And because at the time I thought that's all I had. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know there were all these other options that fit me a lot better. You know?
LGBT LMNOP.
Yeah, like the soup. I mean, we all make fun of the alphabet soup now. In fact, I've heard that it's now derogatory to say alphabet soup. And I don't know if that's just the crowd that likes being offended, trying to make it a thing, or if that's really a thing now. You can't call it the soup anymore. That's crazy to me. I was so happy that we finally had more than 1 letter. First, I grew up when there was still only 1 letter. Lesbians weren't even allowed to be L's. They were just H, you know, because single love. And then by the time I got to college, they had gotten to, you know, depending, it was either HL or it was GL. But when I first went to college, our organization was SHOCK, Supporters of Homosexuals on Campus. There wasn't room for anybody else except the supporters. So you were either homosexual or you supported the homosexuals. You couldn't be anything else. And it wasn't like it is today where homosexual means just men, because it didn't. That's what was so confusing. I mean, people can't understand why it took us so long to get our shit together, because we kept being told, no, you don't exist. You know what I mean? It was so weird. And then B's, you know, when I finally decided, well, then I must be a B because I can't choose, you know, they were like, oh, you're not helping the cause. I hated that. I hated that, being told that I had to be homosexual or I wasn't queer. And you couldn't be a Q back then. There was no Q. And that's why I had my hat made. Because that's what I felt like. I am queer. Nobody wants me. I must be queer. You know, the one, oh, they're a little queer. Let's do the arm push. So, oh, what a mess. Yes, ABC soup. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't understand why.
The soup eaters did not like it.
Yes. There was a boycott from the soup eaters. We were taking a childhood thing and making it too adult, I guess, like everything else. But yeah, so yeah, for me, because I mean, and even now, because I married somebody who presents the opposite of what they think I should be. You know, I hate this. Why? I would love to not have categories. But the problem is we have to have categories because otherwise we try to force people into places that they don't fit and it doesn't make sense and it's a mess. You know what I mean? There's going to be a day when they'll look back and be like, I can't believe we had to do this. Why can't people just be people? You know what I mean? Like, but I lived through all these transitions. You know what I mean? So it's so fascinating to me because I remember when it was just H. I remember when then it was HL or maybe it was GL, you know, and then we had GLAD and, you know, like there's just so many transitions that have happened. And I look forward to the day when nobody cares. Mm. You could be whatever you want and nobody cares. And you don't tell somebody because they come to you one day and say, oh, I think I'm this. Oh, you're just trying to get attention. That used to hurt the most when people used to say that. You know, I'm sorry. I am off to the side again.
I have to admit, I always adored the LGBT community or gay community.
And you have, I mean, you were so active in it, you know, inadvertently in your own way. And you still, I mean, you know how I feel about you being in the community, whether you acknowledge it or not, but that's just its thing.
Yeah. But I adored the community for what it stands for.
Yeah.
The inclusion, being inclusive.
And that's why it was hard for me in the beginning because I was told it would be awesome and rainbows and daisies, and then the first thing they say to me is, "You have to be this letter."
Yeah, you have to be.
And I was like, no, that's not how this works. That's not what they told me.
We spend our entire lives being put into boxes and put into this.
And like I said,
being labeled something that most of us aren't.
Anyway, and that's the joke is like I said, when I came back to her and I said to her, you know, I think this is what's going on. And she was like, are you sure? Because she had lived it in a bad time. You know what I mean? Like she had been through some shit. And she blamed herself for this. Like, she had drugged me into it, even though there was never a point in time that she ever said to me, you know, we should have a talk about whether you're really heterosexual or not. That never happened. But just because, like, her generation...
It's so ingrained.
Yeah, it's so ingrained that they are tainting the future of these other children. You know what I mean? It's god awful. This stuff is still going on now. I'm getting old, people. Why is this still happening? It's stupid. Stop my tangents. These are not productive. I'm just ranty old crazy person now.
You're a ranty old crazy. We're old. Get off my lawn.
Nobody stands on my lawn. It's too tall. That's the great thing about rewilding.
I said get off my lawn. Yeah, maybe I should get a hearing aid. Maybe somebody will hear me.
So, yeah. Anyway, sorry. Really side rant. Don't let me do this because you know me. I am... The older I get, the more ranty I get about this stuff because I'm like... I didn't work so hard so we could all still be shitty to each other. Let's go. Let's get together, people.
I hated being called an ally.
we've had that. We're not having that conversation again right now.
Okay.
It's better to be an ally.
You can rant, but I can't. Okay.
Because I don't think you're just an ally.
No, you've never seen me as an ally.
Not the way people think of an ally. I mean, like, because when you never see me as an ally, that makes me sound like I'm saying you're not supportive.
I'm the enemy.
You look great in a skirt. That's all I'm gonna say, and let people think whatever the hell they want. Because I've seen you in them more than once, and not just because I asked you to put one on.
I look good in a skirt.
You still have amazing legs. I don't. What do you want me to say? But I just still don't know where this belly came from because you didn't even have it when I met you.
I don't know. I'm just getting fat. I think I drew it, and now I got it.
It's not, girl. You still have an hour until feeding. Don't. And I know you don't want my lap because last time I put my lap, you threw me out. You were like, no, I'm not staying. So, all right. So, did we finish telling your story, or are you just?
I have no idea.
Well, you were getting to the point where your community had completely disappeared, still shrunk, even when you regained back. And you were starting to do the networking thing again, and the whole follow. Somehow we sidewinded horribly after following, because I hate asking people to follow me back.
I will say this: I don't recommend to anybody becoming a streamer the way I did it. I think that people have lots of really good advice. My only thing that I would want to stress is that being yourself, being your authentic self, because that could change as you stream.
Well, I mean, people change.
That could change as you stream, but being your authentic self is something that I think makes it easier to stream. But other than that, like me, like doing this whole nonsense, because I've heard people say it's not about the numbers. It's not about the numbers, but there is a numbers game.
If you're trying to do this for a living, the numbers matter.
This is a numbers game, and not only is it a numbers game, it's a viewers game, and numbers of viewers is numbers.
It's still.
You want more people watching your stuff. You want it to have the exposure.
See, I'm going to stop you right now, because why are you doing it? That's what matters. Why are you doing it? What is it that got you to streaming? Because if you're only going to streaming to try to make money, then that's a whole nother conversation. If you're trying to do it as a side gig, that's a whole nother conversation. If you are trying to genuinely connect with people of like mind, then the numbers don't matter. If you just want to find, you have a great expression for what it is. Find your, what is it?
Tribe?
No, you don't use the tribe word. That is the done to death word. It's not finding your people. It's not finding your tribe. You have it, and you're just not remembering it, and I'm terrible at this. But whatever that is, finding your blank. When you find that hole you had in your life that made you reach out to try to find people like you.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's because you just don't have, the close proximity crowd, whether you're in a small town, whether your job, you don't get to go out much to try to find people in meet space, whatever it is, it's the connection to me. That if it's not about the numbers, then it's about the connections. And if it's about the connections, numbers do not matter. You just want connection. That's what you should focus on. Find the people that resonate with you. And that's why I don't like using that other stuff that people say, what aside from numbers about what a true community is and all that garbage. No, you are just finding it's why I'm one of those people who should have the bumper sticker on my car that says I love online, all my friends are there. Because for me, and partly because of my introvert aspect, I don't just go to events and make friends. You know what I mean? Like even when I went to the game, when we still had game night for that short time, and I tried to do that one campaign with you, like I wasn't actively looking for friends. I was just looking for connection. I was looking for something that wasn't just me online all the time, because I still hadn't had a lot of meat space interactions. Like, you had the advantage because you had a meat space job. I did not. And because things like the makerspace that never got off the ground because
we can call it the post office. I am not under any obligation to...
But you've had more than just that job since we came here, so that's why now I don't feel
I can't talk about my current occupation because of the exposure.
Well, that's a whole different thing because of non-disclosures, because of the people that you work with. But
when I worked for the post office, I couldn't even say I worked for the post office because I was so disparaging against my job.
Yeah, but for reasons like it's not like that stuff didn't happen to you. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying about the stream community, is that's really what it is you're trying to find another community. And if that is your purpose, if it's not for some side hustle money or for some serious income, because I know that's one of the reasons why you were trying to get me into it, is because of my health problems. And I can't do standard day jobs anymore. As much as I would love to, my body doesn't let me. I get fired because I can't show up when I'm supposed to be there sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it would have been a perfect marriage, but I don't want to play that popularity game that you have to play if you're doing it to make money.
Right.
Because if you're not doing it to make money, like I said, there are other reasons. A side hustle, that's a different kind of money. The numbers kind of matter, but they don't. Now, when I had talked about doing some of the YouTube stuff that I was thinking about doing, it was if I can make something out of this, great. Do you know what I mean? Because I would like to take some of the financial burden off of you. Do you know what I mean? But I did not want my purpose to be about the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do what I loved. And of course, the problem I have is I'm a variety nut. So trying to narrow that down, the best way to do that is to make boxes. And that's why I started making all of those YouTube channels. That I was like,
I'm Q Bean. I'm a variety streamer.
Yeah, and to be honest, as somebody who does love variety, there's always that problem of I can find a variety, channel, streamer, whatever, YouTube, Twitch, I don't care. But the problem is there's going to be some element that we're not going to, it's not going to be something. I could like the person very much, but if that person only streams first-person shooter games, I am not going to sit through their damn stream. I don't care if we talk about Picasso for an hour. I am not going to sit there looking at people getting shot and zombies and all the usual stuff that comes along with first-person shooters these days, because to me, they all look the damn same. I'm not going to sit through that stream just so I can have a conversation with somebody. Now, if I had somebody that I really connected with and they didn't talk about the game so much when they were playing the game and were just actually, doing stream of conscious streaming while they were playing a game, I could totally just put headphones on and listen to them and still converse. But I mean, I hate to say it, when you're playing a game, people are going to expect you to talk about the game. It's logical. It's rational. That's what. Now, you can still have whatever conversation around the game, too. But if you're playing a game or you're doing a craft or you're walking in your garden or whatever it is that are popular, whatever is these days, people are going to expect a decent, percent of the conversation to be about a specific focus, which makes it easier for people to be like, I have this interest. I can put up with this for a half an hour or an hour. This is a stream I'm going to watch. Mm-hmm. And I think it's why variety streamers struggle so much, because there's going to be some aspect of what you do that's going to turn off a percentage, intentionally or not. And that's why you're always going to struggle, because no matter what, no matter how sparkling your personality is, those things that are your varieties are still going
varieties.
To... What?
I don't like... Never mind. It's a pet peeve of mine.
I missed it, so give it to me.
I like it to be about my varieties, my
But
thing.
that's my point, is that just because you have those varieties doesn't mean I need to be a faithful watcher.
Right.
And when you're doing it for the numbers, you have to have the faithful watchers. And that's why when you look at Twitch's metrics, who are all the top streamers? Gamers.
Oh yeah.
When's the last time anybody has seen a variety streamer in the top 100? Well, okay, maybe the top 100.
People consider themselves, even though they're only game streamers,
and that to me that's just bad language use.
As a variety streamer, when all they do is play games, and I understand why they say it, because there are streamers that are basically like just Valorant or just Baldur's Gate 3 or that's all they play.
But it's still
or Lord of the Rings Online.
It's a misuse of language. Period.
Right. Because and you're right, it's the top streamers.
The top streamers do tend to be single focus game. I get that. I do.
And they are, yeah.
Yeah. And I hate to say it, but well, there's a stagnation within the gaming industry, but that's a whole nother conversation altogether. So I'm gonna make more tea.
Okay.
Do you want me to bring you a beverage?
I would love a beverage.
Do you want me to put on enough water so you can have your own tea?
Yeah.
And we can switch out.
That would be good.
What beverage do you want in the meantime?
Soda's fine.
Okay. Talk.
I'm talking. Here we are. We're talking. Yeah, there's... For me, I've been definitely trying difficult to not tell people how to do it, because the truth of the matter is that if you look at where I'm at, I am not one of those top successful streamers. So, but when people tell me it's not about the numbers, I just kind of go, well, for me it is. For me, the numbers, it's not the numbers don't matter, but I think that the exposure and the people who can be like-minded and be interested in the things that I have to either say or do or watch my art. I think with a wide berth of exposure, more the people that would want to see that will see me just to watch those things. It's basically what I've my time as a streamer. It's the reward that keeps me going. I am going to probably start an art stream in a half hour. And so we might have to call this soon. I'll wait for Figgy to come back. But I like doing these off the cuff, almost surprise type of streams. I'm gonna probably call it soon because it probably won't start at 2:00 because
your drawing stream.
Yeah, because the person I'm going to be collabing with has things that they're doing during the day, and but we said around 2, so I think I'm going to probably start the stream at 2, which is going to be in a little bit.
Yeah, it's already after 1. I just realized.
So this will actually give me the break that I kind of need before starting the art stream.
So,
anything you want to say?
Did we tell the whole story?
I think that's the whole story.
Okay. Well, because I kept going off on sidelines and you kept letting me like the fool that you are.
I think that it's, it's the whole story as I remember it. Is that?
Well, I always just thought it was an abrupt transition, and the fact that there were steps along the way was part that I was missing, I guess, is really what it was.
Yeah, and again,
there was a development between Q Hope and Q Bean.
Again, my treatment of Twitch is exactly where it's at. It's It's a convenience. I don't treat Twitch with any kindness at all, and maybe it deserves a little bit of kindness, and maybe there are things that it's done for me, other than giving me my $50 a year. Maybe.
Well, the joke is, I mean, you never set out Yes, there were people that tried to convince you, you could be doing this full time, and da 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 da. And then there was the joke about the retirement gig, but it's just.
Oh, and, to Christmas, my first Christmas as a streamer, it was really. See, the thing is that I had a few people who are larger streamers actually telling me that, with their help, they could get me on the track.
The fast track.
The track that where I could be making money quicker, and that would keep me as a streamer. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I said absolutely not.
You did definitely consider it.
I didn't say absolutely not.
I was just worried about the time that was going to be involved. It was going to be like, so I'm going to be living with somebody who never leaves this room, like
something like that. That's
what I was.
That's a distinct possibility of what would have happened.
I know.
It would have been a lot of streams.
Yeah.
To keep up and to manage.
Yep.
The good news is that I would have been able to quit my job. But
that was the only reason you even considered it initially, to do it to that extent.
I don't know if I would have liked it after even a few weeks.
Well, you were. I mean, I know.
I definitely would have liked the technology that I was being offered.
Yeah,
that would have been nice to have.
It wasn't. I know you were unhappy with how inorganic it was feeling.
Yeah,
because it just started feeling pushed. The whole thing just started feeling pushed, and that's when I noticed you were already doing the step back, and I
wouldn't have been cute.
No. You wouldn't have gotten to do all the wonderful things that you've gotten to do when you did them. Yeah. When you did, you might have been able to retire into it or something.
I wouldn't have been cute. I would have had a creation done. I wouldn't have been the artist. I would have been support.
I don't know about that.
I would have been support.
Time-wise, because your schedule just would have been so different that we really can't guess, I guess. Can't guess, I guess. Yeah, that sounded so intelligent.
You know what? I might have dabbled in the art and stuff like that, but if I didn't have the experience...
Well, if you were just sitting there as a sidekick and just, conversationally, whatever, you might have started doing it on the side. You know what I mean? Just like a doodle thing.
Yeah.
And you might have got back into it that backdoor way, But yes, it would have been a very different stream existence for you. And I
think I would have had to do a voice too. So I think it would have been a completely, instead of it being this natural voice,
it would have been a complete persona.
Yeah. It would have been a complete departure.
Is it weird that my brain immediately says you did say persona and not persona, right?
You never know. It might have been a persona. I don't know. I don't know where it would have gone. But I had that offer, and it was a nice offer, and I appreciated it, and I did consider it.
You still appreciate it. I mean, it's not like you appreciated it in the past.
Yeah, I'm very honored that they even thought.
There's a good way to put it.
But I didn't choose that path, and I chose this one. As rough as it was, and it's like I said, I do not mean to make light of it in any way, shape, or form, but it was awful. what happened on Christmas Eve a couple of years ago. And I would not change. It allowed me to see a lot of things that I did not, that I could, I was.
You didn't turn into one of those denial monkeys.
I was actually above all of it. I was only doing the things that I wanted to do. I wasn't even interacting with the community. I wasn't even community building, which is something that I thought I was doing, but it didn't.
Yeah, it definitely alerted you to the fact that you were not.
It didn't come to light until that happened. I think it's an awful way for it to happen, and like I said, I don't wish that upon anybody. But it
was a wake-up call you needed.
I'm grateful. I never liked Twitch. I avoided.
How many times can you say that in one stream?
Because I'm on Twitch. Itchy? I'm on Twitch, and it's like people think that there's some, like, I have some. I'm beheld to Twitch in some way. I owe Twitch something, for my
obviously because they
career.
let you come back on.
There are people that believe that I made this new name because I was trying to run away from my old name, which they don't realize that they actually transferred over any debts, demerits, or whatever that I had from before. Which I'm glad that I waited. Like this is something that I don't think a lot of people realize. I could have deleted Q Hope immediately, and I should have, in retrospect. But because I held on to it until everything was cleared up, when I created the new persona, I could still use my email address, and everything was connected, and phone number, because once I used those things, every account that's attributed to those things is now attributed to this account. So this is basically a Q Hope account, even though it's under a different name.
Interesting.
That's one thing. Like
that I didn't know.
That's about as nice as I'm going to say about Twitch. It's an evil organization, everybody, and fight the power. That's all I can say.
Could you say that anymore? Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
They take all your money. They take half your money, and then they're designed to take the rest of it. It really is what it's all boiled down to. And because I don't buy any subscriptions at all, the measly $50 that they give me at a time is all. I take it all happily.
Which is a joke because the IRS takes a third of it. But whatever.
Yeah. Happily, I take their $50 a year.
That doesn't even pay for 1 month of internet.
No, it pays for nothing. But I'm happy to make that. And like I said, if I could convince everybody here on Twitch to move to YouTube and watch me on YouTube, I would ditch Twitch in a heartbeat. That's how much I love it.
But you don't stream on YouTube anymore.
I do not live stream on YouTube. It's all my live streams are Twitch.
So how would they ever drop by and hang out and do all those things if you don't?
The analytics will tell me who's going to YouTube and watching my videos and seeing things. And
it's not the same, and you know it. I'm just going to suggest. All right, in fact, I'm going to make a wish.
Okay.
I don't know if you're going to grant it.
Okay.
On my birthday, or as near to it as we can manage.
Okay.
I want to do a stream on YouTube.
Okay, we'll do a live stream on YouTube. I think if you wanted to YouTube stream, you should do that.
Yeah, we've already talked about why I don't stream.
But yeah, we could do that.
Do you really think people want to sit there and listen to some crazy person just tangent after tangent after tangent? No, they do not.
I know some very large streamers that's their entire persona. So,
is it really?
Yeah.
But they all have like cute bouncy boob.
They do.
Yeah, that's
and you can have a cute bouncy boob avatar too.
I don't want a cute bouncy boob avatar. I don't even want a cute bouncy penis avatar.
But there are VTubers only. I don't know of any.
Well, you don't really know
any
a lot
flesh
of
tubers. Flesh tuber.
I'm definitely not flesh tubing, not with this face.
I don't know very many non-VTubers that can get away with being that, because the body language and their reaction can be very different.
That's another stream we should do, is to talk about body language. Because that's something that I'm actually really curious about now that people are all watching basically the exact same animation. Because let's face it, most of the time this is, I don't know what the percentage is per type of not human face, kind of things going on. Or meat space face, I guess, maybe is a better way to put it. But even if somebody has the whole rig, the body language, there's got to be some sociologist or psychologist, type studier. There's another ologist that I can't think of right now that would probably fit in this, where they examine how people who spend a lot of time watching streams, their presentation publicly has changed because of the body language of the avatar they're watching. Well, because remember, I was watching that video I told you about recently where somebody was talking about how a certain class of people, they would always feel uncomfortable around them and they couldn't figure out why. And then they found out when they met people who were of another particular type of group where they just stand close to people. That's part of their, their way of life. And once they identified that as the thing that was making them uncomfortable, it never bothered them again. Do you know what I mean? So I wonder if there's some kind of a similar acceptance that's happening on line watching. I don't know what to call this. I lack the vocabulary. But I'm sure somebody's doing a thesis about it, and we'll put out a book.
Okay.
Well, because it's different than the usual, I almost said stochastic. When you have a relationship and it's only in your own mind with somebody that you're watching on the TV, I know that they have that similar thing with VTubing, where people think they have a genuine relationship with somebody that they watch their streams.
Parasocial,
there it is. Sorry, like I said, my brain is so worthless now. But I wonder if there's another aspect of the parasocial.
That the parasocial is
I'm sure it's a huge problem, and especially because everybody does their best to look as, traditionally sexy as possible, which that's a whole nother conversation for the whole
Since we're talking about apocalyptic type things, we're going to raid Mortis.
Okay.
Who is playing Doom Eternal.
There we go. That's where we're heading.
That's where we're going.
We are heading to Doom Eternal. Thank you, everybody, to stop by.
This has been a fantastic time.
Really?
And I appreciate everybody for stopping by and saying hi. And
because it was spontaneous and they still showed
up. Yeah, I liked it. I want to do more of these, actually. So
well, then we'll
try. Yay! Let's doom. Thank you, Blue. All right, let's go. Let's roll.
Take care. What do I have to do to get Twitch to understand that I'm a human